Alright guys, we're back at you with another video. Jambo crunch on Tina. Trying to get stuff done. My exhaust came in today. A little bit short, but I have enough extra little bits and pieces laying around here, around the shop, that I think I got enough to get it all done with full 4-inch from the downpipe all the way to the rear bumper. I just need to find one little piece that I just thought of. But I'm gonna find that and then we'll get in the shop and I'll show you guys what we got cooking. Let's go. All right, just like that, we're getting down and dirty. Getting under here, getting to work. Here's my pipe, my new pipe that I ordered. It came in. I got it stuck up on here. This is our over axle here, where our straight pipe comes into our over axle. So my plan for this, how I'm wanting to get this pipe laid out, is I want the pipe to be hidden behind the frame rail. So whenever you look at it from the side, you can't see the pipe down here. I want it to come out of the downpipe right there and be hidden behind the entire frame rail all the way back until it drops at the back of the axle. So what we're going to need to do is I have this downpipe over here. All right, change of plans. We're going to stick around here just like this. I got the downpipe picked up just a little bit, so it's going to look like it's coming. Like you can see the very bottom edge of it underneath that section of frame rail. And then it'll just stay parallel, coming straight down through here, underneath that frame rail. And then go into the over axle and up and over and out. I might go through it all later on and hide it behind the frame rail. Maybe whenever we go through and restore the frame, or have the body off another time. Because I eventually do plan on taking the entire body off and doing a complete restoration on the frame rail and making the frame rails look slicker than the factory. I want to go through and weld up all the frame holes and all the unnecessary stuff. But for now, we're going to set the exhaust up just like this, keep it as straight as possible up through here, and roll with it like that. So I'm going to set you guys up on time lapse. I'm going to get that adapter up there tacked, and then we'll start from the front and work our way back. So without further ado, pitter patter, let's get at her. All right guys, got the exhaust all tacked up. I went ahead and threw the truck in the air so we can weld it out fully. I like to do it on the ground like that so that I can make sure everything is clear at full droop, where it's sitting where I want it to sit. And even though I did it that way, it still barely hits the leaf spring at full droop, so nothing to worry about. So I'm gonna go ahead and set you guys up on the time lapse, and we're just gonna weld it out solid. Let's go. All right, finally got her all welded up, front to back. In there, welded up and solid. Got her tip tightened up. I do need to trim off the edge of this, the outer edge of this over axle, because it points to the side where I want the tip to sit. It doesn't. Yeah, I'm gonna have to trim that off in there, which means I'm gonna have to take the tip off and lop it off and then put the tip back on. But we're gonna start it up and see how she sounds with this 4-inch straight pipe. Let's go. dude. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, son. Freaking right. All right, guys. So we got the frame rails all sanded up. I ended up sanding those with 100 grit on my orbital sander, and they came out pretty freaking slick. You can still sort of see where both frame rails met and what got welded together, but it's a lot better than what it was. Check it out. We got our nice pretty pipe all in there and welded up. We got our frame rails up here. Slick and slick all the way down. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. And it's just barely noticeable where she was chopped and put together right there. Good enough. We might change that and fix it later. Make it a little bit better later on down the road. But for now, she's a-okay. So now we have 2-inch square tubing underneath the bed rails in between the frame and the bed to get the bed spaced up to line up where we need to line. So we're going to start making bed stands for this bed to be able to get actual bolts in it and bolt it down. So we're going to take measurements of the back and get the back set. You can sort of see the back of the bed. The back of the bed sits a little bit lower than the front. I don't know if you can see that very good on the camera, but I can see it out here. So the back of the bed still needs to go up like a quarter of an inch up. So I'm going to take my measurement from the bottom of the bed mount to the top of the frame rail, see what that space is, add a quarter of an inch to it, and then we're going to cut 2-inch quarter wall DOM tubing at that measurement for the spacer. And we'll just set it up there in between the bed and the frame and run the bolt down through it and bolt the bed down just like that. Now, the fronts are a little bit different. The front holes on a 79 bed are actually narrower than the rest of the bed holes. So on the front, what we're going to do is make some 2-inch spacers, the same that we're doing for the rear. But this time, we're going to take a 1/4 inch off the top of them and put 1/4 inch plate on that and weld that plate to the spacer and then weld the spacer to the frame, drill a hole into the plate, and then the bed will bolt down through the plate on the spacer itself. So that's how we'll hold the front of the bed down. And then the back, or the center, this will just take regular spacers right there with a bolt and a nut. So without further ado, we're going to get the camera set up and start figuring out the spacing that we need and making spacers. Let's go. All right, I found it, but there's not enough. I thought I had more than this. So we're gonna have to substitute. And just like that, we have our bed stands. So we got both of them cut for both sides. I'm putting the taller one on the driver's side just because something just seems a little too funky with it for me. So we're gonna get them up under there. Let's go. That's what we look like now. Square tubing's up in there. Should be able to get a bolt straight through it. Just like that. So let's go up top and see how our body lines look now. Let me get it zoomed in here. Oh yeah, that's what she needed right there. 2.5 in the back and 2 in the front. That's the spot. See what this side looks like. Uh-huh. I measured the front whenever I set the cab, and both sides were identical, side to side and up and down on the frame. So the cab is perfect. The cab is sitting exactly where it needs to sit. It's not too low on one side, too high on the other side. Both sides identically match on the cab. So something with the bed or the frame is off on that driver's side, popping that front corner of the bed up. But that's where our spacers. That's so awesome that I guessed that and got it right on the first try. I'm proud of myself for that one. So now we just gotta make some stands for the front of the bed. So this will be a little bit more time consuming because front of the bed's at 2 inches. And then like I said, we're gonna take a quarter off of that and then put like a 1/4 inch. Should we do a 1/4 or an 1/8 inch plate material? I'm asking you guys, like, you have an input. By the time you see this, I'll already have it done, so. Just freaking do a 1/4. I just don't feel like drilling through it. That's the thing. Like, I hate drilling. But we have to make a stand that's 1 3/4 inches tall. And then we'll put a 1/4 inch plate on top of that to make it the full 2 inches. And then the plate will come off to the side with a hole in it, be able to bolt the bed down. That's the plan. All right, guys, we just got back to the shop from Dirty Bird Drive Shafts. This dude is located up around Lebanon, Missouri. If you're in the Missouri area, or really if you're in the Indy area, he can build pretty much any kind of drive shaft you would need, whether it be steel, aluminum, short, long, you name it. This dude can do it, okay? Look at this drive shaft that we got for Tina. It is straight, it's better than brand new. Like, he goes through and clear coats the U-joint caps so that they don't rust, and then he paints the U-joint itself on the inside before he ever presses them into the ears. Like, I had to keep it into the cab because I didn't want to throw it in the bed and have it beat around and get scratched up. It's way too pretty. Like, holy cow. Beyond happy with this thing. So, yes, if you guys are needing a drive shaft or have a project of any kind that you need a drive shaft built for, get a hold of Dirty Bird Drive Shafts in Lawndale, Missouri, and get you a drive shaft. Here's his contact information right here. I'm going to get this thing in the shop, and first I'm probably going to have to change. I'm going to go change first, and then we'll get it into the shop and get this thing up underneath the truck. So I've been waiting for a week to get this drive shaft in. Let's go. Look at this sucker. It is beefy as heck. Like, that's my 4-inch tubing. Let's see here. Whew. All right, guys, we got the truck up in here at the front of the lift with the bed in the air so that I can go through and wire wheel the sand and clean up the last little bit on this frame so that we can paint it and then bolt the bed down for good. I might end up taking this reese hitch off back here because it hangs significantly lower than the bumper. It hangs 6 inches below the bumper. I know that for a fact because I put a 6x6 block on top of the hitch to set the bumper on to line the bumper up with the body. So the reese hitch is six inches below where it needs to be. So I'm probably just going to take it off right now so that I can go ahead and clean the frame up where it bolts to. And then later on, we'll see if we can find us a shorter hitch to put on there. But for now, I'm going to set you guys up on the old time lapse and we're going to get to cleaning this rear frame section. Let's go. All right, guys, I've been getting some stuff done. All right, it has been, let's see, it's the last clip that you guys just seen of me wire wheeling and cleaning the frame up and getting the frame painted on the back end under the bed. That was Tuesday and it's now Saturday. I got the bed back on, frame all painted up and everything. Got the rest of the stuff buttoned up that I needed to get done. And I've been driving this truck around for 2 days. Just soaking it all in. And now it's Saturday around noon. And I am in here buttoning up the interior, getting the interior cleaned up. We have some black carpet out of a parts truck that I went and snagged. The only downfall about this carpet is that the truck it came out of was a manual shift transfer case truck. And Altina here is electric shift transfer case. So there's going to be a hole in the transmission tunnel on the side over there, but I'm thinking for the time being I'm just going to put black duct tape over it and then order some new black carpet. But I got to looking at carpet and I also seen some bright blue carpet, not like the light blue carpet that comes in OBS trucks. This was like a pure bright blue that would match this paint perfectly. So I'm kind of on the fence about getting some blue carpet because that would tie in the outside colors to the interior. Because like we're talking about, we're doing a 11-16 dash, a 6.4 dash with the 06 harness and everything. And then we're going to do an 11-16 full center console with King Ranch or Pecan brown platinum seats from an 11-16. So that'll give us the brown colors to match the rust that's on the outside. And then we could get blue carpet with black plastics on the dash and then have a couple of little blue accents on the dash as well. And I think that would be freaking sick. I think the blue carpet would go with the brown seats and then the black console and everything with the brown lid. We might be on something. But I'm going to get you guys set up. We're going to strip these seats back out of here and then get the floor all cleaned up, get all the screws picked up out of it, button up a little bit of wiring. There's some sensors and stuff down here in this floorboard that we need to get screwed into place and held in one spot. So we'll get you guys set up and get after it. Get these seats out of here, get the carpet laid in here, and get to going. This is what I'm driving now. I went and got insurance on it yesterday, and it's pretty freaking sweet. Like oh gosh, it freaking rips, guys. So we gotta get these seats out, get the carpet laid in here, and get it back together so that I can continue to drive it today. Let's go. All right, guys, so I'm sorry for the lack of not filming a whole lot of stuff, because a lot of stuff is happening very quickly because we're on a time crunch trying to get Tina buttoned up for Indy Jamboree in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we're trying to drive her 4 hours away, or not 4, it's 4.5 hours, but whenever you count traveling in a convoy and then making fuel stops and everything, it's probably going to be more like 5.5 hours. So trying to get everything buttoned up and cleaned up on Altina, and we're getting somewhere. Like I'm fixing to show you guys, and it just completely blows my mind at how much this truck has cleaned up and straightened up and is lining out. We went and picked up some wheels and tires. Went and picked up a full center console from an 11 to 16 Super Duty Power Stroke. It's a black leather full center console with all the cup holders and everything in it. And today we're getting it in the shop, and we're gonna fix the fire. We're gonna make a firewall panel. I got me a new toy. Got me a plasma cutter from TikTok Shop. So we're gonna give it a try today. Getting this firewall buttoned up to finish off the engine bay for the show this weekend. But check this thing out. Completely, like, I don't want to say it looks like a completely different truck, but it's turned out freaking nuts. So we got the smoked blinker lenses. These have sequential turn signals in them. So there's an LED strip that goes from this side to this side, and whenever the blinker's on, it flashes from one side to the other. Instead of the whole thing just flashing, it goes strip, 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 which is freaking sick. I love it. We already had the headlights in here, but we got new bezels because the ones that we had were busted. These are the original side markers that we had, but we have the AFT parts, smoked taillights as well, that have red LED circuit boards in them, so that the whole thing, it's kind of like a newer model Recon taillight. It's just a whole square circuit board of red LEDs right here that light up. Really friggin' topped this thing off. It's just freaking nuts. So like I said, we're fixing to pull the truck back in, and we're going to make a panel to fill the void and cover the gap and everything in between the 79 cab Firewall and the 60 Firewall. Get those two tied together, get all that painted up, and then I've been having thoughts about tossing a headliner in it, and then painting the charge tubes on the engine. So I don't know what all I might do before we leave Thursday. It's currently Tuesday, so there's still a few days left of finding things to clean up and fix and tinker with, but we're gonna get you guys set up on the camera. We're gonna get the truck in the shop, and we're gonna start chopping into that firewall and getting that firewall tied together. Let's go. All right, I wanted to go over this real quick just to kind of give you guys an idea of my plan for this. So we're basically going to take this firewall and we're going to cut the 79 firewall out of it and just leave this top half of the 79 Firewall there to attach to. All these little clips would come out that held the original 79 hood seal to. All those little clips would come out, and then we're gonna cut it right at this little rib all the way across, and then down these pinch welds over here on the sides, and take this whole piece of blue Firewall out, and then go straight from up here straight down to the Super Duty Firewall, and make a one solid panel that goes all the way across, and it's just completely flat and flush. But we're not gonna weld it. I'm gonna drill and run self-tappers into it, basically. I don't really want to say self-tappers because it kind of sounds janky whenever you say it like that, but they're gonna be like chrome-headed stainless screws all the way across there, perfectly spaced apart. It'll look clean, but I want to keep the Firewall panel removable. That way later on, whenever I decide that I want to make the windshield wipers work, which is another question you guys have been asking me a lot, what I did for windshield wipers. I don't have any right now. I'm just running Rain-X on the windshield. So whenever I do want to come back in and work on making windshield wipers work, I can take this whole panel out, and that'll open up getting in there to the windshield wiper holes and make it a lot easier to make everything work. So that's what we're doing. We're going to cut this whole panel out, and then we're going to go in and mark from the top of the 79 straight down to the Super Duty Firewall, mark it along the bottom. I'm going to go an inch away from the mark that we make on the Super Duty Firewall. So this is a it's kind of confusing, but the way I got it thought up in my head is simple, very simple. So we're going to take blue tape and go from up here straight down to the Super Duty Firewall and make it completely flat and flush all the way across. And then I'm going to come from the flush mark, which is basically where this lines up straight with the Super Duty Firewall. I'm going to come from that mark out in like an inch, or maybe just a half inch. We're going to come out, and then we're going to cut it there, a half inch out, and then we're going to scribe us a little line with the grinder wheel, and then cut little slits in it, be able to bend the Super Duty Firewall up in tabs. That way I can drill holes in them and be able and have something to weld that panel to, or not weld, to screw that panel to, like I was talking about, to keep panel removable. So that's what we're doing. That's going to get rid of this little turn up over here on this side, and then the only thing we'll have to worry about is making little filler panels to cover up this area right here. And I might just go ahead and chop this pinch weld, like where we cut it here, we might go ahead and chop it flush with this part over to this area and figure out something to do there with that. So without further ado, I'm gonna get you guys set up on time lapse somewhere where you can see me work on this whole thing, and we're gonna get to it. Let's go. Hopefully you guys can see where I'm going with this, but this is the tab idea that I was talking about doing. Getting my tabs bent up, trying to get them in a straight line all the way across. That way, whenever we take our tape and go from top to bottom, it's nice and flush and flat all the way across. And then we can mark the top line on the tape, and we can mark the bottom line on the tape, and then just peel the tape off and go transfer it to 16 gauge and cut it out. So I'm gonna set you guys back up, and we're gonna keep massaging these tabs a little bit and get everything nice and flush and lined up, and then we'll lay the tape all the way across and make our template. Let's go. We got our tape taken off the firewall. We got it set over on our 16 gauge, and I have my new little plasma cutter working that I got on TikTok Shop. So we're gonna burn it out real quick with the old little cinder plasma cutter cut 50. This thing is less than 200 bucks. Should be perfect for the little sheet metal work that we do around here. So we're gonna give it a shot. But I'm gonna go ahead and chop this out. As you can see, this is what I do. I make cover the whole space with tape, and then mark out the edges with the tape. Peel the tape all off in one piece, and then just stick it to the metal. And then you just gotta cut that shape out. Simple as that. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop it out and move along. Let's go. Well, we got our panel made. Got it laid up in there. It looks pretty decent. But get my soda out of the way here. Shut the hood. We pulled the cowl down significantly doing that. So we gotta redo it. Take it off, scrap it, make another one. I got it too low. Dang it. All right, guys, we are on our way to Indianapolis four-wheel drive jamboree. We just went through Terre Haute, Indiana. Tina is doing amazing. We've been running 75 with the cruise set the entire way, and we have yet to make a stop. I'm not even at a half tank of fuel yet, and we filled up at home. So, doing great. That's going to end this video. You guys have to come back next week to see the rowdy stuff we get into this weekend at the show. But thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend. Keep this channel growing. See y'all in the next one. Let's go. Currently at the Airbnb in Indianapolis for four-wheel drive jamboree, and I was just finishing editing this video and realized that I didn't show you guys the finished product of the firewall panel. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys now real quick so I can get this video posted by the morning. Here's one of the trucks I'm staying with, and another one of the trucks. You guys will see all this in the next video. I'm gonna do my best to film this show, because I say I'm going to every year and I don't, but this year it's gonna happen. So you guys stay tuned for all that. But here's the firewall panel. All right, so like I said, nice and flush. I originally did put it up there with the screws raw, shiny stainless looking like I was talking about, and I didn't like the way it looked, so I just painted black over everything. But I think it turned out pretty killer. I have a guy back home that does hand pinstriping, and we're going to take this panel off, and he's gonna do a complete design on it for me. We're gonna have Tina painted pinstriped in the center, so it'll say Tina in the center, and it'll have like probably blue and silver and white pinstriping designs along the sides. But Tina in the center with pinstriping in the sides, it would be a cool little engine bay piece. And then we can start working on cleaning up and dressing up the actual engine bay itself. The only issue that I've had with this thing on this trip is my power steering pump. The donor truck of this thing, the donor truck, 6.0 Power Stroke Super Duty and everything, it sat for like a year and a half at my shop with no hood on it or anything like that. And I never checked the power steering fluid. Well, whenever I checked it, whenever we got here, because the power steering pump's been whining, my power steering fluid was chocolate milk. So we drained it and put new fluid in it in the O'Reilly's parking lot, and it's still kind of iffy. It's not really wanting to work. You can see my drips down there. But she made it 4.5 hours to Indianapolis from Southeast Missouri. Cruise control set, the AC was blowing cold, tunes were playing. The only complaint that I have is the howl of these tires. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch y'all next weekend. Like, subscribe, comment, share the video. Let's keep growing. We'll see y'all on the next one. Peace out.